So, Apostle,
Yes.
as we have been concentrating or working on this book of Esther, do you think Vashti did right by refusing to go to the king when he called unto her?
Yeah, of course, Vashti was right because thank you so much, our viewers. But to answer your question, that Vashti was correct, was right because you see, according to me, she was protecting her dignity. Yeah, but I would say that she was only wrong because so the method you are using and the timing can also be wrong. You can be right in doing that, but the time and also the way you are doing it. That's why I'm saying that she was right by doing that because she was protecting her dignity. Because number one, you have to understand that the king was drunk. The Bible says they consumed the wine and he was drunk. That's what I have to say.
Okay, so again in that same book, we also came across the character of Mordecai.
Yeah.
And I think he had a big role in this book. So I just want you to emphasize or to tell us also that did Mordecai do right by not wanting to bow or to obey the rules that were set by the king that all of them must bow before Haman?
Let me say this. I don't know if you will get it because this is, I have to quote this. There is a high level of obedient in disobedient. I repeat again, there is a high level of obedient in what? In disobedient. Which means, of course, here the Mordecai was disobeying the man, the prime minister, what do you call Haman. But also, at the other hand, he was obeying God. Because according to their law, God, remember he's a Jew, and according to their law is that you must not bow to any other God. You must not bow to anybody unless God. Mordecai was okay, was good, was right.
Okay, so what lessons did you learn from this book of Esther? And what can you just tell us that throughout these teachings, what did you actually, or what touched you more on these lessons of Esther?
Thank you so for the question. There are a lot of things that I've learned, even though I'm not going to say everything. One thing I've learned is that this is a teaching that we have received. Your exit is someone's entrance. In another way, your seat is somebody's prayer point. Which means what you have today, somebody's praying to have it. So therefore, what you need to do now is to appreciate what you have. Because remember, somebody is crying to have what you have. But if you are not maintaining it well, God is able to make a shift. Remember that we are not owners, we are just managers. So God is able to make shift. And another lesson that I've learned, this is when to come to Esther. Esther did not win the king by outward appearance, by dressing miniskirt, by putting on makeup. No, it was the character. And the character came why? Because this woman was having people she listens to Mordecai and Hagar. So therefore, another lesson also that I've learned is when it comes to Mordecai, that you see, just as I said, there is a high level of obedient in disobedient. Which means sometimes people will see that you are disobeying, but at the end you are obeying God. Those are the lessons that I've learned. But the last thing that I have to say is that in all these things, we have to know that God works mysteriously. That's why don't need to be proud. We need to appreciate whatever God has given us.
Okay, so I believe we are not done with the topic of Rehoboth yet. So how can this story, this book, these lessons, these teachings relate to the topic of Rehoboth?
No, we are talking about the opposition. We are talking about the enemy coming against him. Of course, as we are is in this life, no matter born again, just as we have said, born again or you are not born again, you have to pass through opposition. People have to stand against you. But one thing we have to know, just as we are studying the book of, just as we are in Rehoboth, we have to understand that God is always victorious. And if you are listening to His leading, you are going to be victorious, and you are going to be at the place, what we call the right place at the right time. You are going to be at the place where you will know that God is God.
Okay, thank you. So that was it for today. And thank you very much for listening to our video. Just like Haman was trying to fight Mordecai, and Mordecai had victory in the end, there is an English quote that says that every cloud has a silver lining. But according to the Bible, it says that the pain that you are facing today cannot relate or cannot compare to the joy that you are yet to receive tomorrow. Shalom.